I think this is happening because the world is putting a kind of pressure on China, pressure on this industrial model, and it's really just the only thing that matters in this model is that people are developed, but there's no thought of repercussions, or there's no thought of anything else except for developing and capitalism and producing.
Basically, the factors are the massively expanding population of China and the fact that they have to keep everyone within a reasonable state of living.
In East Asia, excluding Japan, China has over 53% of the energy consumption. That's only in one section, too. That's only in the industrial section of China that consumes 53% of East Asia's electricity. It really just shows how much pressure the world community puts on China in trying to modernize and kind of get up in the times, if you will.
China has a large number of population. Yes, it's a very important factor. Big number of population means more resources, more energy, and more waste.
When you think about China, you have to think about every environmental problem and then magnify it. Every population problem, then magnify it. Every single kind of problem with simply getting people food and then multiply it by 10, you know. The problems that we deal with in California are just small in comparison.
Many cars and many people can produce more rubbish, more polluted air, and the condition will be worse.
They have very short eye view. They're just focusing on what they can get right now, but they don't care what will happen after that.
But it isn't because they don't understand it. They do understand it. They understand it perfectly well. It's that they can't break with the tradition of doing stuff the way they used to do it.
People using resources, demanding more. SUVs, for example, although the number here is not huge, but they account in America for about 25% of the car market. SUVs, as I understand over here, now account for 35% of the car purchases. Fossil fuels, stemming from automobiles, stemming from home heating, fossil fuel problems, CO2 problems, stemming from the production of steel.
It is very dusty. I even cannot bear it. It's terrible.
I think we can't avoid it because we needed the economic to grow, so it's a cost. We had to pay for it.
Well, in my opinion, people are paying more attention to the industry and the economics, but they seldom pay attention to the environment. They just want to make a lot of money, but they don't care the environment they are living in.
The economic interest is maybe the main cause. The deeper cause, I think, is the local government officials, the lack of the conscientious for the protection of the environment.
Some very small factories, they do not have very good equipment to purify the wastewaters and dust, but still they are there because they can make some money, and those factories are really doing some damage to the environment.
They do not side with the victims of the pollution, but with the factories which gave the pollution, because they pay taxes to the local government, they make contribution to the local development of the economy.
As of now, you know, as Deng Xiaoping had said, you know, to get rich is glorious. He didn't say that because he wanted to change the economic strategy of communism. He said that because he realized that a free market economy and a capitalist mindset when it came to China's economy was the only way they were going to be able to maintain and keep the growth on an uphill slope.
Pollution in China, in terms of compared to the United States, is relatively recent in terms of the huge amount. They're saying, we got other priorities to face, but they're recognizing obviously pollution and good economy go along together.
The people, on one hand, they trying to develop. They want to get rich. Then they develop an industry. Then they trying to improve the economy. Then they neglect the environment problem. But why they have got a lot of money, they realize the blue sky is becoming gray. Then they will turn back to improve the environment.
That economic spurts are associated in part with the environment? Sure they are. The economy has a real impact, particularly the need for a great deal of oil, a great deal of coal. China's rich in coal, uses one of the most polluting fossil fuel sources, which is coal. Acid rain falls on about a third of this country. And so the economic spurts, and now it's hardly a spurt, it's one economic incline, and it's been going at about 9, 8, 7, 8, 9 again % per year for the last 20 years.
Of course there is a relation, between the economic development and the environmental problems. I think so.
The acquisition of money, the acquisition of wealth, or the increase in actual wealth of China has been the goal of the government here and of the party, largely because if it didn't generate additional wealth, the party would go out of business. Deng Xiaoping recognized that early in the early 1980s and set about the 4 modernizations that would increase wealth. And at some point he made the public statement that to get rich is glorious. But this is not a statement made with obvious costs, because once you have richness, you have to spend that money in order to keep the economy going. And what do you spend it on? Well, all the goodies that contribute to pollution.
30 years ago, or even 20 years ago, TVs were not so common. A telephone, computers, but now, I should say even in the countryside, in some parts, almost every family has at least one color TV.
Deng Xiaoping redefined communism as that which works, which is essentially the theme song of Pragmatism, which is of American invention. If it works, you do it. If it doesn't work, you throw it away and start over again. This works. This economic expansion has worked far beyond the dreams of those who originated it.
But make no mistake about one thing, China wants stability in the world, and stability for China right now is stability in the sense that the China economy can grow.
$1.3 billion people. That's a shitload of people.
1.3 billion. Of course it's different from 2 billion or 1 billion people.
1.3 billion people, about 80 or more % of who are roughly considered urban and are concentrated on much smaller land area, particularly on the East Coast. That in itself creates huge, huge problems.
The fact of the matter is that there are more Chinese in the world than anybody else, and that therefore, because of that humongous size of the population, they do tend to pollute, and they exacerbate the problem.
Satisfying the need for employment for those people is not easy, and that's why China's been on this rapid and even dramatic job hunt in order to satisfy the needs of that incoming population. As a result, obviously that adds to the pollution issue as well.